Hi, all, it's John. And I contacted Michelle. I left her a Slack message, but she's like amazingly busy. So she hasn't responded. And I thought the best thing I could do is start creating an experience map for you and then talk to you about how it is it's done. So that's the purpose of this video. And so let me walk you through it. What I did was I put up only what it is that you told me yesterday in our conversation in terms of what the roles are, because I talked about that, and what the events are. But now what I want to go through is talk to you about the structure of this and how it is that it works. And so the way we start this is we actually start over here by determining what is the end event. And the way we write these events and all the things in the box over here are the events, is that we actually write them as what we call abstracted behaviors. So everything is written in behavioral terms, and that's really important because, as we've discussed, behavior is the root of all value creation. So when you are working at the root level, you always find the most insights, and therefore that allows you to find the most compelling solution to whatever problem that is you're trying to solve. So we start with the ending behavior, that's like part one, and then part two is we create a series of abstracted roles. And typically when we do that, we might name something. We might not start with the abstraction of the role, but by the name. So something like Xprize might go in that area, and you might have a number of people that are similar to that. Even if you're just evaluating the Xprize, and you kind of say, well, what role are they playing? Well, they're playing the role of organizer. And then you would use the word sponsor, and that's a role. And we didn't identify a specific entity, but CMA could be one of them, and there are other sponsors out there, depending on the role that CMA wishes to choose. So, and then you talked about people going to the visionary process, and that's the ideators down here. And that's what I call them. And basically, they were pitching something. That's the word I used. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But they're actually they're creating this idea, and maybe that's the wrong level of abstraction. I put that in that may be incorrect, and so go ahead and change it. And then the last one I put in was inventors, and that represents that person who's a radiologist who was either pitching for or is on the team for Alzheimer's. I got confused with what it is you said at the end in terms of what he actually did, because there seemed to be some confusion there. But those are the inventors, and I say plural because there could be a whole bunch of them, obviously. And there are other roles. I can see other roles emerging out of this, but I didn't want to put them in because I want to leave it to you to kind of uncover that and learn how it is to do that. So that's the roles that you create. And then what you have to do is abstract the behaviors and how these different roles interact with each other to get at it. So I took your visionary process and I said, well, when they are pitching, and that's the word I use, and that may be wrong, so it's just a guess here. I said they're pitching a problem, but what they might be trying to do at the top is to evaluate whether there's a breakthrough possible in it. And I don't know the behavioral, how does that get determined? Do these people actually come and say, I think it's possible to make a breakthrough in 3 to 5 years? So I don't know what's going on inside of that. So somewhere inside of these people coming to pitch something, and they're evaluating it, and maybe there's other people involved in here in the evaluation process. So in which case, what are they contributing through this evaluation stage, and who's the role that's doing that, and they would contribute to that. That's kind of getting inside the details without getting inside all the process deals for how it is they particularly organize that event, because clearly there's a lot of process steps involved in organizing that event and getting people to come. And that's really not what we care about. What we care about here is the behavioral impacts in terms of the core, the purpose of all of this kind of event chain here that goes on inside of it. So just to summarize quickly, this is all the abstracted roles you have to create, you have to uncover by, doing the work that you're doing, to create this chain of roles and behaviors coming together in order to reach the purpose of whatever this thing is. And that's part of what you kind of say maybe at the top. and it all kind of fits in here. And if you had in total 15 to 20 in total boxes, including what it is you have for roles, then you're going to have a good map because you've abstracted it to the right, what would be an appropriate level of analysis, so you don't get too much into the weeds, because it's too easy to get into the weeds. And it is at this fundamental behavioral level that you need to get it down to. So as you can see, it's quite challenging, but what it does do is it forces you to focus on the behavior, the core behaviors that are going on inside of this process. And of course, that gives you freedom to pick and choose where it is you want to play. Also, well, I'll talk to you about how it is that you can do that afterwards. So I just say kind of continue with this and decide if you want this is the endpoint or not. Maybe there's a different endpoint that you're interested in. But anyway, it's a start. I thought I'd send it to you. It's the easy ways to describe it as opposed to trying typing all of this out, because that would be horrendous, because I don't type very well for one anyway. So call me if you have any questions, and look forward to seeing how this thing goes. Thanks. Bye.